Yo guys, what's going on? Acez is here today with another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some stuff coming in the future of PvE Tarkov. Some stuff that was mentioned on the Pestily and Nikita interview that I thought was important enough to kind of take three main things and put them in a video for you guys. Do me a huge favor, make sure you're dropping a like on this one, and of course, consider subscribing to the channel for more Escape from Tarkov content. Now, real quick, I do want to say that we're not taking any of Pestyly's footage and putting it in this video here today. I'll throw some sort of hardcore gameplay in the background for you, but I do want to just be clear that I am going to be talking about Nikita's responses from Pestyly's interview. So credit to Pest and of course Nikita himself. One thing before we talk about these main 3 points, it seems like Nikita is way more hands-off than we originally thought, or he used to be. Just kind of based on some of Nikita's responses from this almost hour-long interview, it really seemed like Nikita was saying a lot like, I have to check with them, I have to check with the team, and it's like, man, I really thought Nikita was more on hands with a lot of Escape from Tarkov and the development process and everything, but it does seem like he is heavily relying on the team at some points, which is good if he's extremely busy, and, you know, things will get done quicker that way, but at the same time, man, it does feel like the man himself is a little disconnected. So I hope that doesn't, continue. I hope he's still, very much involved. It seems like, this is his baby, and I don't, want the vision of this game to start getting super skewed because a bunch of other individuals are coming in. Not saying anything about BSG, not saying the team is bad or they're doing bad things. I'm just saying Nikita has built this thing to this point, and it's an amazing, amazing game, and I don't want the core of the game to go anywhere. So let's talk about the main 3 things. I'm going to let you know what they are right now. Ref, prestiging, and having the ability to pick online or local raids. We're going to start with the last one because that's one I've actually recently made a video on, and if you missed it, I'd love to give you a quick recap. But basically, I made an entire video, and I made 2 of them actually so far since PvE is released, and local raids have released, I should say. Basically, if you go into an online BSG raid on PvE, your FPS on some maps will double. You'll go from 50 to 60 FPS if you're, running on like medium high settings on a better end rig, or even if you're on low medium settings with a little bit of a lower end rig. Local raids for solo players are going to be around that 50, 60, 70 FPS on maps like Lighthouse, and that's without a scope. If you scope, you're going to have double rendering, and you're going to see your FPS tank in some places to even 40 FPS, which in my opinion is completely unplayable. I made a video showcasing that if you do online raids, because I have a second computer with a second standard account that has PvE, I can load in with my second account and get great FPS every single raid. And this is actually what I've been doing on my hardcore series. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, you want to see it in action, head to the Acez TV channel and you can see me do it at the beginning of every single raid. I invite my standard account, I load in, I take out the standard account so he doesn't just, sit there and lose hydration and, all that. Obviously, you know what I mean. And then I just play my raid normally. It takes probably an extra minute to invite the account, accept the invite, and then 2 minutes to load into a raid. It's 3 minutes per raid, and I'm doubling my FPS on every map. Pestily brought this up to Nikita, and I don't want to say it's a direct, result of my video, but this was the most emphasized PvE topic from Pestily. You can watch the entire interview, anything about PvE. This was the main point that Pest tried to get to Nikita, and Nikita kind of brushed it off. He kind of just said, yeah, we'll look into it, we'll see, and that was kind of the end of it. And Pestily kind of tried to double down even and was like, hey, this is one that players would really, really get a lot of benefit from. And, Nikita's initial reaction was he didn't know anything about it. So it seems that at least Nikita himself definitely didn't see the video. And obviously, I try with all my heart when it comes to making content that I think is beneficial to the player base. I try to get it pushed enough where maybe BSG sees it. And typically they don't. Every once in a while they'll see some stuff. But it's just one of those things where Pestily really tried to drive it home. And I think if he does a follow-up with Nikita and asks him about it again, I definitely think it's something they are going to potentially consider because it would help the player base. And, as I showcased in multiple videos now, you're getting double your FPS in some cases, which makes the game really enjoyable. And kind of not nearly as hard on your PC, which is also good. So the next one we're going to talk about is the prestige system, and the reason we're picking this one second is because Nikita didn't seem too happy about Pastili's reasoning, at least just in, I wouldn't say the body language, but just kind of his response in general. It was originally not planned for prestiging to come to PvE. And Pastili's main reason for wanting prestiging in PvE is the economy in PvE itself. Now, from what I have purchased on my hardcore account when it comes to cases and containers and things like that, I haven't really noticed it, but as for everything else over on PvE, you know, I have seen a couple of things. Like I saw toothpaste is like 1.4 million. I saw moonshine is something like, you know, 1,000,000 rubles or something. You know, I don't fully understand where Pastili's reasoning was for the economy, because when it comes to certain things, you know, they're incredibly expensive and it's easy for players to make money. And then when it comes to other items, you know, such as, I don't know, some sort of pliers or something like that, maybe we can take nuts and bolts, for example, that are probably still around 30 to 40K. I don't really understand what the issue is with the economy. Like, let people have money, let people have fun. I was a little, you know, lost by that. But Nikita kind of just said, yeah, okay, we'll consider it, or something like that. I think out of the three things we're talking about today, if any were the most unlikely to happen, it would be prestiging. And if you don't know what prestiging is, basically it's just going through, once the game hits 1.0 and is fully released, there's going to be a line of quests and basically escaping Tarkov, completing everything in the game, and then you will prestige, and then you'll do it all over again. And assuming you're going to get some sort of reward that carries over through your prestige, whether that's a different dog tag or, you know, exclusive clothing, whatever. You know, that's supposed to be the game loop. And you know, Nikita just did not seem very, very interested at all at providing PvE with the prestige mode. Now, before we hop into talking about ref, Nikita did say in a, you know, answer to Pastili when Pest asked, you know, how do you feel about a lot of the player base playing PvE over PvP? Nikita said he didn't mind it, and this is great for the overall health of PvE. That means he still has a reason to support it because he doesn't care what you're playing versus what you're not playing, really. You know, he thinks that a lot of players are going to play PvP at the beginning of this wipe coming up, and that, you know, over the course of the wipe, they're going to go to PvE, which is perfect. So Nikita not having any animosity towards PvE players, I think, is a very, very good thing. It's honestly a strength of PvE that the man himself isn't against the aspect of it. When, if you remember, years ago, he was extremely against it. Completely against it, actually. So, it's a step in the right direction. It's good news. The final thing we're talking about today is going to be ref. Nikita just straight up said that ref is still planned, which is great. I think this is the next major step for PvE Tarkov, I should say. Now, I am a little concerned. Pastili was talking about some stuff with Arena and somehow losing rep, and I don't know all the ins and outs of that. I don't really play Arena, and I don't really play PvP Tarkov anymore. Something about, you know, rep being tanked, and, you know, some players, it got so bad where they had to reset their accounts. I don't really know much about that, so guys, if you could, drop it in the comments if you know, like, more information about that. I'd love to kind of just do the research and learn a little bit about that and see what that's about. But overall, assuming everything goes correctly and you're not losing rep, like I said, I don't really know about it, so I can't speak on it. But I feel like that is the next step in the PvE progression, is for players who want to relax and play PvE, they can, but to still get their PvP fix, maybe they don't want to spend 45 minutes in a customs raid to get ratted by Stankrat. And I love Stank. This is no shade. He is my favorite creator for Escape from Tarkov. But then after that's Landmark. Go figure. So it's just like, you know, some players do not want to spend 45 minutes in a raid to then just die at the extract in the last 5 minutes. It's just one of those, you know, kind of things that it's just like nobody wants to waste their time. You know what I mean? And that's why raids typically end in like the first 8 to 10 minutes for most players, because they do what they need to do, get in a little bit of PvP, and they leave the raid. But there are players that stay in longer, right? I think for the players who do want to conserve their time, save their time, who care about their time, or just have very busy lives and don't have, hours and hours and hours to play Escape from Tarkov, I think Arena is the answer. And being able to hop on Arena and then also be rewarded on your PvE account that doesn't wipe. Like I said, this is for players who don't have a lot of time. You can send stuff from Arena to your PvE, which is, great for players who don't have a ton of time. They want to get in a couple, quick PvP fights, maybe want to play, 3-4 games of Arena for an hour. I mean, those are going to be some good games, man. You got to get a couple good games in there. You really don't got to worry about, like, a ton of cheaters. I have heard some stuff about, Arena having cheaters, but I think it's a lot less punishing for you to die to a cheater in Arena than it is over in the main version of PvP Tarkov. You spend a ton of rubles on a kit, and then you die to a cheater in the first couple minutes. It's kind of demoralizing. If you die in Arena to a cheater, you lose a whole game. It's just kind of like, okay, what I lose? A couple 100,000 rubles, and God forbid it's a ranked game or whatever. But you know what I mean, right? So being able to get that PvP fix very quick, fast matches, and then being able to hop back over to PvE and relax, play at your own pace. I think that is the next step for the game, and having ref in PvE will really incentivize players to not only play Arena, but at the same time, kind of let them get that old Tarkov feel back, the good PvP. I'm not saying that, the AI are the worst thing in the world, but they are very, very easy to fight in PvE. Sometimes they're cracked and it's a ton of fun, but other times they just stand there, and that's not fun. So it's one of those things where ref is going to, in my opinion, be an absolutely A+, 100% positive change to the PvE side of the game, because it will let you get a little bit of that PvP in, and that's just my opinion, of course. So let me know what you guys think about these three main topics. Once again, just to recap, ref, and then being able to pick an online raid over an offline raid, or a local raid as it's called, and then the prestige system for PvE. Like I said, I think if we had an order of operations for things that are going to happen, ref has already been confirmed to still be coming, so ref obviously number one. Being able to pick an online raid number two, and prestiging, just based off the tone and just kind of the response and the body language of Nikita when asked about prestiging for PvE, and then given the reasoning of the economy being so bad, it just didn't seem like he was interested, and that's kind of our recap. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're leaving a like. Make sure you're subscribing. I will be probably not uploading any of the new stuff for the patch because I'll be away on vacation. I'm trying to record a ton of hardcore content for you, so that's going to be uploaded over the course of that vacation for at least some of you to have something from me to watch. Appreciate y'all. Make sure you leave that like. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.